I'm currently working on a few projects that will result in a few additional boards to the website that I run. Anyone that's familiar with it will know that I produce and make available vintage reproduction boards. And I do this strictly as a hobby. It is not a business, and this does seem to confuse some people. So I want to go over that in this video. If you're not interested in this, then obviously just skip the video, but it does seem to cause some confusion, and I get some fairly interesting comments and feedback from a lot of people that really don't seem to understand economics. Now, as I say, I do this strictly on a zero profit basis, and firstly, the first comment I had on this was, well, if it's zero profit, surely the boards should be free. Well, no, I still have to pay for these. I don't get them for nothing. I make them available at zero profit, and this video will explain how I go about coming out with a sale price. But the important thing here is that I don't make any money selling these, and that's allowed me to agree with an eBay seller that they can sell them at the same price that I list them for, because it doesn't make any difference to me if they sell them or if you buy directly from me. But that's about to change because of a recent eBay policy change, hence the title of this video. But I thought I'd explain why we're going about doing this. Now, the eBay website is not mine. They do have my full permission to sell all the JM Precision parts, and again, that's caused a bit of confusion, but there's nothing untoward or strange about it. They just buy the parts, they sell them, and because I don't make a profit, it doesn't make any difference which one of us sells them. But as I said, I guess it does seem to cause confusion sometimes, and one particularly unpleasant old guy that I've done a lot of free work for, done thousands of pounds of free work, hundreds of hours of free repairs, provided him thousands of pounds worth of discount on things he'd bought. He got into an argument with the owner of the eBay site, and then for some bizarre reason he started sending me rude emails. And it's very straightforward. They get the parts, they buy them themselves, they sell them on at the same price pretty much I sell them for. They might add a bit to cover their eBay fee, but otherwise they sell them for the same. Unfortunately, we can't continue doing that for reasons I'll explain later in this video, but I thought I would start by just showing you how the costs are derived for an example of this. I mean, I've had people, for example, this Mark 14 board, I had somebody say they were eye-wateringly expensive because you could buy the entire kit originally for what I'm asking for the board. Now, that's kind of true, but it's ridiculous. The kit was available originally in 1979, and I'm actually selling the board for £10 less than the kit cost in 1979, but when you work it out in real terms, I'm selling the board for a quarter of the cost of the kit, about half of the cost of the original board. So I'm selling this a lot cheaper than you used to be able to get it for. But the way this works is that, for example, we've got the pod boards here for a Z80. This is for the Fluke 9010A, and what happens is I give you a set of boards and you give me some money. So you're most likely all thinking, oh my god, that's a lot of money for a pair of boards. But remember, these are 4-layer boards, and they are quite expensive to manufacture. Not horrendously so, but more than you might expect. So I have the money arranged in a logical way so I can try and demonstrate where the costs go. So firstly, I have to buy the boards. They're not free to me. I have to actually get these manufactured and buy them. So the price per pair of boards is that. So we'll remove that. I have to pay for shipping, which is quite expensive, but it works out about £1 per board. So £2 covers the cost of shipping for a pair of boards. The next thing I have to pay is import duty. So our government likes its cut, and that works out to approximately this amount for a pair of boards. It's hard to be exact because it does vary from shipment to shipment, depending on exactly when it's shipped and the exchange rate at the time of shipping, but it works out to approximately that amount. The next thing is when they're sold, we do of course get fees, and we have to pay PayPal or eBay fees along with the fee for the import in the first place, as well as import duty. We have a handling fee, and that absorbs about that amount. So that leaves us with this amount of cash. Now unfortunately there's a lot of fraud on the internet, and this is something I'll be coming back to and is really the main purpose of this video. And about 20 to 25% of all the sales that I make go missing. In fact, they don't go missing, we know they get delivered, but the people that we sell to make fraudulent claims that they haven't got them just so they can get free merchandise. To give you an example, recently I had one guy, he bought some boards, and about 2 months later he sent me a message saying that the wrong items had been sent. Now he'd bought them off the eBay site, so I passed that on to the owner of the eBay account, and couldn't find any record of the information he'd sent. He did send screen print of his supposed order. It turned out it was fraudulent, he'd made it up. He had bought some parts but not the ones he'd showed, and when we found his invoice we found that he'd been sent exactly what he'd ordered. And despite this, he said he wanted to exchange some of the parts, so we said fine. We don't normally accept returns, simply because when people return things they don't bother to package them and they almost invariably turn up damaged, so we can't then sell them. But on this occasion we said fine, we will accept a return. But we gave him 3 stipulations. Firstly, he wouldn't get a refund until the parts had been received. As I say, a lot of people just claim they've sent them back, and they don't. They just demand a refund from PayPal, and we lose the money. Also, we wouldn't pay any import duty, so he had to make sure that he either paid that himself or declared the parts, that we wouldn't incur import duty. No reason I should pay duty on something that wasn't an error on our part. And lastly, the parts had to arrive undamaged. All very benign stuff, very simple, and as far as I'm concerned, should be acceptable. But he decided that was unacceptable. He immediately raised a complaint and a dispute with PayPal. It rumbled on for quite a long time. He said we could have just replaced the items he'd ordered with the alternates. Now we can't do that, it was in a different country, so we have to export them. We can't exchange goods with different types of goods. It has to be like for like. You can't just export something and then export it under a different name. For example, if you export a biro, you can't then exchange it with a car. And obviously if you could do that, people would find many loopholes. So you can't do it, it's illegal. We just told him to send it back for a refund, and then he could order what he wanted. But say he went off on one and caused all sorts of headache. So there's about 20% of the original cost of the item just disappears. We lose it because of fraudulent behaviour by basically thieves on eBay, on the internet. So we lose that, and that leaves a very small profit. In fact, we don't make a profit. I don't make a profit. I have other costs. This doesn't include, of course, the cost of outlaying several £1000s for the boards that I then have to sit on for 5 years or more until they sell. They sell in very small numbers. The thing that seems to really confuse people is if I order a batch of these boards, it could take me 5 years or more to sell them. The market for these is incredibly small, so I only sell probably 2 or 3 sets of boards across all the different board types per month. So it's very small. If I was running this as a business and I expected to make a profit selling these, I would have to sell this pair of boards for about £6,000 to cover the cost and the small number that are sold. But I don't. I sell them for overall what I pay for them. If you don't believe this is the case, then you can do the costing yourself and try and get some ordered and then try and sell them on and see what happens. Just be warned that if you do want to do this sort of thing, you need to make sure you cover your costs. Okay, so that's on to the main topic of this video, which is these items will shortly no longer be available on eBay. eBay have changed their terms where they are demanding that sellers can't use PayPal. You have to give eBay your own personal bank details. I absolutely refuse to do that. It is an insane thing to do. I've just explained there's a huge amount of fraud already. eBay will want people selling to send the goods before they receive payment. It's bad enough now when you receive the money before you ship, but if you start shipping things out without getting payment, then that's just a recipe for disaster. It's insane. So there's absolutely no way I'll do that. The eBay site owner has asked if we could supply a bank account so they could continue selling, but we're not going to do that. So they're no longer going to be selling these on eBay. All the parts will of course still be available on my own website at JM Precision, but as soon as the items finish on eBay, then we'll no longer be listing. In fact, we can no longer list or change listings on eBay. So if you have requested anything from the eBay seller, sometimes we have to do custom listings depending on what people are asking for, but we can no longer do that because we can't list anything new and we can't edit any of the existing listings. So apologies to anyone that likes using eBay, but I think eBay have cut the run throat with this one. I have used eBay probably for 15-20 years now and done hundreds of thousands of pounds of transactions on eBay, but I will no longer be using it. I think the approach is extremely dangerous. Giving a site like eBay access to your own personal bank account is a recipe for disaster. At least using PayPal, which is effectively an escrow account, if someone does hack it, I know a lot of people have had problems with PayPal, but it's often not PayPal's fault. It's quite often somebody's hacked your PayPal account and it then gets disabled. But had that been your own personal bank account, then you would have not got anything back and you would have probably lost all the money that you had in there. So PayPal is an extra buffer, an extra level of security that is disappearing, and eBay are exposing people to potentially extremely high online fraud risk, and we just aren't willing to go that route. So you can continue to buy the parts from JM Precision. All the new parts will be going onto the JM Precision site, but will no longer be available on eBay. Okay, so comments welcome. If you've got any concerns about this, then let me know and we'll try and answer them as best we can, but it's nothing untoward. It's just simply we're not willing to give eBay our personal bank details.